Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name is Ronnie Hayes. Let's talk The Walking Dead TV show Q&A 72. Alright, we're going to jump right into the questions. If you want to participate in the Q&A, you can find the rules, and these rules you need to follow. Find those rules down in the description. Let's jump right into this, starting off with Joe Cool. He asks, do you want to see Abraham put down a certain Alexandrian walker during the cleanup like in the comics? And then you give me options about what else I would want to see. You know what? I personally am going to cut you off there because I think we will see and let's just say it's from the comic books. It was Jesse from the comic book as a walker. Most likely because that scene's not going to happen like the comic book. So I'm going to put this out there now. I think they're actually changing the Jesse Walker scene in the comic book, and it's going to be Deanna. And the reason I say that is because they, for one, they didn't show her killing herself. Two, they showed a picture from the promo image that is clearly a Walker version of Deanna. Three, there was actually a promo ran that was a video that looked a lot like a Deanna Walker. They showed it to us back in like episode 6, but from what I saw, I missed it in the episode. So I'm guessing they jammed that in there, and that was a look at Deanna as a walker. So I do believe they're going to remix the Jesse as a walker in the aftermath of No Way Out from the comic book, and they're going to remix that on the show as Deanna as a walker having to be put down by either Abraham or Rick. It would probably be more logical that it was Rick, because Abraham is unfortunately not in the No Way Out storyline at the moment. Not having Abraham at No Way Out would probably be one of the biggest you to the fans anyone in the writer's room could ever have done, because he had the most, awesome moment in the comic book. That was the Abraham moment where I fell in love with him in the comic book. To take that out of the show is just depressing. Anyway, let's move on. Rick Grimes Crow. Just saw the new photos AMC released from 609, and they say the episode will pick up with Daryl, Abe, and Sasha. Do you think this would be just for the intro of the episode? Because I really thought they'll go right back to Rick and group. Yes, this, in my opinion, this will just be the intro. And that's where the episode comes back on, episode 9. We see Daryl, Abraham, Sasha. We see that scene play out, and then cue the music, and then we see the credits, obviously, and then after that, we come back to them getting off the porch, walking into the herd, and we're right back into the action. Walking Dead Vlogger. Which one of the Atlanta 5 do you want or think will last the longest alongside with Rick and Carl? Alright, so you take Rick and Carl, that only leaves Daryl, Carol, and Glenn. So which one do I think will last the longest? Yeah, part of me saying Carol's going to last the longest if I had to pick one out of all three of them. Nicholas Mercer. What character do you most strongly feel on the show right now in the future would get their exact comic death? Rosita, Morgan, and again, and you said etc. I hate when I'm limited in my answers. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? But you can only pick this and this. It's like, damn it, I don't agree with either one of those choices. You know what, that's hard. I don't believe a lot of characters will get their future comic death. I'm going to have to go with Eric, because it's one that could be manipulated easily or remixed easily, because he just got shot. So it's like, on a TV show, we can do that in All Out War. We can remix the whole circumstance around his death and still have him get shot and killed. So yeah, I'm going to go with Eric. Jacob, what do you think will happen when Morgan and Carol wake up? Do you think they will have to work together in order to make it out alive? Or will they keep fighting each other? Well, here's the thing. We have to know, or we have to take into consideration that Tara and Rosita and Eugene are in the room now, so obviously they're going to wake up Carol and Morgan. They're not just going to stand there and watch them snooze. They will go over and check on them, wake them up, and they'll probably wake them up just a couple minutes after the Wolf and Denise have left, and then they'll be like, listen, we got to go out there and da-da-da-da-da. Rick and them are obviously going to be in the middle of some deep shit, and it looks like they're playing it out similar to the comic book where Rick and Michonne in the comic book were in danger of being taken over and killed by the walkers, and Abraham made his triumphant entrance into the battlefield, started whooping walker ass, and then everyone else followed suit. Now, with Abraham taken out of the story, and with Rick and the whole group now seemingly in the mix, not knowing how they're going to split apart like in the comic book, it seems like shit does go down. We see Spencer and Heath there. I believe we even see Carl there. So it does look like shit goes down with everybody and not just Michonne and Rick like in the comic book. So I'm assuming they're going to have to work together, and they will go out and they will fight the walkers. There's nothing else to bicker about. I mean, if we think about it logically right now, how interesting would that be to see them argue who's right and who's wrong while action is happening? So yeah, they're going to have to get out there and kick ass and help the other guys so they don't die. Marcus Johnson, in the midst of writing your own comic series, which characters from The Walking Dead show do you draw the most inspiration from in creating your own main protagonist or antagonist? This is an interesting question, and I put this in here because I don't draw inspiration from any of them. And when I first read this, I kind of thought it was odd that either you're thinking of it in the wrong way, or maybe I think of it in the wrong way. And I know you're only saying inspiration, which it's not a negative thing. You can look at certain characters like Rick and be like, man, I want to make a character that has, and that could inspire you. But for me personally, it just doesn't. Yeah, I wish it would. I wish I had a story where it did, but it just doesn't. Like, somebody could sit there and say, okay, Michonne is a very strong female character, that can inspire somebody to make a strong female lead kicking some ass in a zombie apocalypse. I can see that, and that's not copying, that's not anything negative, that's showing some respect. I mean, we get inspiration out of everything, so I do want to back this up by saying it's not a negative thing if you get inspiration from the Walking Dead characters. It's not at all. For some reason, however my process is, I just simply cut that off, and I do not turn it on unless I am trying to make my story completely different. Grimm's Trash. Do you think Sasha will take comic Michonne's arc and end up with Ezekiel after Abraham dies? Honestly, I don't know where you came up with that. I know she had a couple scenes similar to Michonne. I know she had that outburst at the party at Alexandria. That was something that Michonne did. But I don't see them doing the characters like that, where they're like, okay, you know what, we need to remix to go here. Sometimes they do that. Right now, I would actually believe that Michonne will end up with Ezekiel in the TV show if they choose that the story should go in that direction, if it fits and comes into play. I do not see Sasha doing that, for example. So I believe they are going to keep the Sasha-Abraham dynamic, keep the Sasha is comic, Andrea Sniper dynamic. I think they're going to keep all that and remix it in a way. But I do not believe it's just going to be like, okay, Abraham's done, she's going to Ezekiel. Right now, I might be missing where you made that connection, but I don't even see how that is a connection based on the current story. Sasha, is very different than comic Michonne. Sasha is a person who's kind of guarded, and I know comic Michonne was, but not sexually intimately. Like comic Michonne was like, let's get it on, you know what I mean? She's DTF. It's like Sasha needed the guy. Sasha's character needed the guy to step up in order to be realistic to the character. Needed the man to step up and say, listen, I'm interested in you. You know what I mean? Bob did that. Sasha didn't come up to Bob and was like, listen, I'm interested in this. Bob did that. Yes, there was that flirtation, whatever, but Bob's the one who leaned in first and gave her a smooch. Abraham's doing that. He's coming in. To get other characters like Ezekiel to do something like that after Abraham dies could work, if it's that forward, whatever, but seeing how she lost Bob, she lost Tyrese, and then and then Abraham, for me it just doesn't blend right. But I will leave it open as a possibility. That could work. But I'm much more inclined to pick Michonne for the Ezekiel thing. Mourn 28 Dead. Hi Ronnie, will you be satisfied if Carol gets Holly's comic book arc? You know what? Holly's comic book arc is an interesting one. It's such an awesome scene itself. And here's the thing is, Holly had some really good moments, but that death was one of those moments where, like, the death itself was so much more cooler than Holly was. And I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. The way I see it. That's the way I feel. So they can really actually do that death with pretty much anybody. The only problem is if you pick Carol, the only problem is it would be, I don't know, it would be a little underwhelming, in my opinion. You take this warrior, and then she would die off screen. There would be a big reveal. So I don't know. I would have to say that I'm liking where the idea is going, but unless the story is done right around that, I'm borderline. That can crash and burn real quick, real easy, in my opinion, having Carol take that death. So I'm borderline on that one. Listen, give me your thoughts and opinions on these. I got to go ahead and record another batch for tomorrow for the Q&As. But give me your thoughts and opinions and add new questions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.